Hello everyone and welcome to today's tutorial on Tkinter, a Python's built-in graphical user interface toolkit. What is Tkinter? Tkinter is a robust library that allows us to create windows, buttons, menus and more all within the Python code. It's intuitive, versatile and widely used for desktop applications across different platforms. In this video, we will cover the fundamentals of Tkinter programming from scratch. By the end, you will be equipped to create your own graphical applications and understand the core concepts behind building interactive user interfaces. Before we dive in, make sure you have Python installed on your system. We'll start with the basics, covering how to set up a simple Tkinter window, add widgets like buttons, labels, handle events such as button clicks. Then we will move on to more advanced topics like layouts and styling, so you can design interfaces that are both functional and visually appealing. Let's begin our journey into the world of Tkinter. My IDE. As you can see here, my tkinter.py is the Python file in which I'm going to write my Python code for developing the GUI applications. We can see a terminal here in the bottom through which we can run the Python file, or you can also run the code by using this run button. So first we need to import the Tkinter library. So from Tkinter import star. So this by importing Tkinter, we have imported all the classes and methods which are part of it. So first class which we will work with is tk class. So tk class, we need to invoke it so that it creates an object which is nothing but an instance of window. So window is equal to tk and parenthesis. So this will create a window. So this window is a container which will hold all the widgets which we are going to work with. So, and this tk is a class. So when we are writing this line, we are instantiating the tk class and creating an object, and thereby creating a window which is a container which holds all the widgets which we are going to discuss soon. So once we have done this, we can write a set of we can invoke a set of labels. We can invoke a set of widgets here, and finally we need to close this by typing window.main loop. So what happens is this particular code will be keep on running until someone presses the close button in the window. If the close button in the window is pressed, then it gets closed. Otherwise, it will keep on run. So let's see what happens if I run just this code. So if I run this code, as you can see here, I got a GUI interface, and this is what this is named as tk. So I haven't set any name to it. So let us do few changes to it. First, I'll set a title to it and some geometry to it. So window dot, when you click on it, you will see a different methods. You can invoke them. I'm calling geometry method, and I'll say that the geometry should be something like 600 cross say 1000. If I give this geometry, save it, and if I run this, as you can see, this is 600 and 1000. So if you want to reduce this to say 600, you can make it and run it once again. As you can see, this is the result which we got. So let us also change the name of the window. So to change the name of the window, you need to invoke the title method. So just type t, and there are suggestions which you can use it. So I'll call this as my Tkinter window. So you can name it anything. I'm naming as my Tkinter window. You can run it. As you can see, this is what my Tkinter window. So let us call few widgets so that they can be placed in the video. So the first widgets which we would like to work with is a label widget. So you can call the label class, and the first argument to this label class should be the window, and you can mention some text, say hello or something. And this label class, the instance of it would be an object which is named as label here. And so once we have created this object, so we have to use this pack method to make it visible on the window. So let's save this and run it and see the output. So as you can see, we got this label widget which just displays the content. It doesn't do anything, but later we will see how we can work with. We can modify these by pressing the buttons. All those things can be worked out. So let's now see a second widget called as entry widget. Entry is also a class. The first argument should be window, and we should you can just give it empty and see it. We can just give it empty and see it what happens. So once again I need to call the pack method, and let's run this. So as you can see now, here I can enter some text here which takes input. So let me just work with so this entry and label, so that if I enter here, it should go back and place it in the label method. So before we see that, we should also learn one more widget called as buttons widget. So there is a button class, so which also takes window as the first argument, and you can mention some text so that it would be visible upon the button. And later we will also see how to invoke certain functions when you click this button. So when we create an instance of this class, so it would be a button object. In the same way we can call the pack method, which is part of button. So let's run this. So if you run this, you can see here now you have a label, you have an entry, and a button. So let's make it working, or let us connect all these three, so that when I click a button, whatever is the entry which is present should be shown through label. So let us work on that. So in order to get that, first we need to capture the input from the entry. In order to capture, we will be using what is called as string vars. So string vars are not same as the string class in Python. So this is a different type, but we can easily convert that into string by using different methods like get and set. So I want to access this into a particular variable called as mystr. So I'll use this variable within my entry class. So I'll assign mystr, which captures text from the user, so that we stored in the variable called as mystr. So that whatever I got from the entry, that has to be placed in label when the button is pressed. So in order to do that, first we should have a method in button. So there is an option called as command in button class, so where it asks for the function name. So I'll call it as submit. So submit is a function name which we need to define. So it is not built in. I can name it anything. So you can call it as my submit, or any name you can give it. So I'm just calling it as submit here. So I'm writing my definition of the submit here. So it's a simple Python function. So what am I supposed to do? So here also, when I declare label, I will have a text variable called as mystr1. So this is the text variable in label. So I should set this. Okay, I should get from mystr and set the variable in label. In order to do that, I'll use my method. Inside the method, I'll be doing this. So I've captured the input from mystr, and I have set inside mystr1. So we have get and set methods. Get allows us to get the content which is there in mystr, and set allows us to set the value of mystr1. So mystr1 is part of label, but I haven't defined mystr1. So let me just copy and paste this. So mystr1 is also string var. So now after defining this, so what am I doing here? Once a button is pressed, I'm using set method, which is part of mystr1, to set the label, but the content is coming from mystr variable. So mystr variable, from there we are using the get method to access the content and show it in the label. So let's see what happens if we do this. Okay, so let me run this and see what happens. So as you can see here, as of now there is nothing label here, but I'll type India and submit, we can see here we got the label. So whatever I type it here, say hello something, like I'm able to see the output. I can even type a very big thing, or see something like this, you can get it. So this is a simple application which shows how to access input from the entry widget, and how to write methods inside when you click the sub buttons, and how do you change the label based upon the input which you receive. So this allows us to understand how these three widgets works in Tkinter. We also have an object oriented way of writing this code. Write the same code in an object oriented way. So let me first create a new Python file. I'll call it as my Tkinter say o. So I'll copy the same code here and place it here, and I want to convert this particular code, write this in an object oriented way. So first let me call this as I'll create a class called as my GUI, and within that I can write an initializer function, and self should be the default argument. So within this method we write the whole of the code. So I'll keep these towards the bottom. So as we know, classes contains both variables and methods, so we will make all these content within this initializer function. So let me just edit this code. So I'm not going to rewrite the whole code, but I'll just shift this into the initializer function. There are a few changes which we need to do. I'll do slowly. And every class also has methods, so we will have the submit method as part of it. So let me save this. So now I can't access, so these the variables should be part of self in Python. So I'll make it self.mystr, and I'll access through self.mystr. In the same way, my method name should also be self dot. Why we are writing self? Because this method is part of this class, and we access the variables and methods inside the class using the self. So the same thing goes with the self dot mystr1, and we access the same here using self dot mystr1, and finally inside submit method we can also ask. So here self should be the default argument to this method. So self.mystr1 and self.mystr. So save this. I think these are the changes which are needed. Rest everything would be as usual. So let us run this and see the output. Okay, the one thing which we haven't done, we have written everything inside the class, but we did not create the object of the class. So let me create an instance of this class. So I'll call this as my GUI, which is equal to my GUI. And so this is the instance. When you create the instance, automatically it creates the output. So let me run this. So as you can see here, so you can type it anything here, and you press the submit button, you get this label.